a lot of times that's where it begins and ends with me with knives, the weight. So let's weigh these two knives. We are going to be discussing this brand, Emerson NTMP, and man, has it been a long time since I talked about Emerson. Probably since 2008 when I reviewed this knife, my personal CQC7. Still have it, still love this knife. Really cool blade. I've rolled it into many KRVs since then. Good blade. But I don't review a lot of Emerson blades. And I got to be honest with you guys, I always am. A lot of it has to do with what you're going to see on the scale. So here comes a 2-for-1 Emerson knife review in TMP. The surge continues. First up is this knife, the ETAK. Cool name. What do you think this weighs? It's heavy, I'll tell you that. 6'2". Boom. And then here comes a CQC7 right there. Right? And what's this weigh? Probably the same as my CQC7, which is going to be around 5'2", 5-ish. There you go, 5 ounces. Okay, so that's the weight. We got that out of the way. I like lightweight knives. You guys know that. Big fan of the lightweight knife. And by the way, this is the B version, the Tanto version of the ETAK. Kind of a cool name, right? And you saw the catalog number on this one right here. Give me a lightweight blade, a capable blade, and dude, I'm excited, right? Sometimes Emerson knives are a little bit heavy for me. They just are. How can you say that? None, I have no problems at all. Well, I've never seen an Emerson carried by anyone that I've gear checked. Not ever. And remember, I've had this knife for 15 years plus, and I've carried it. Actually, I've carried it quite a bit, but in the last probably 4 years, not so much. Because it's kind of been eclipsed with knives, and just because I have it on the table. Super lightweight. You know, here's an 1870 knockout in OD. I mean, this is so super lightweight, thin, capable. I just like carrying it better. You know, it carries deep. So that's what I'm saying. If they were to lighten up their knives, maybe put in aluminum scales, skeletonize, upgrade their CNC machining capabilities, kind of update the designs. So if this one was weighing an even 4 ounces, I myself would be more excited about it. Maybe do something that adds second cool to it. Blue titanium liners, for instance. Different coloration handle scales, and they have had this, I think, and there are different colorations of these knives on the table available. I like Desert Tan G10, stuff like that. Just changing it up for your knife user. Maybe changing the clip. Do a loop over deep carry low ride clip. That would be exciting to me. Got that out of the way. But that answers the question as to why I don't review a lot of Emerson knives. Because personally, I love the designs. I think the quality is excellent. I love the company. But I'm not genuine if I act like I carry them all the time. There you go. But that being said, I'm never selling this. And I may buy some more. Man. Let's look at the specifics here in a second. I'm going to knock out philosophy of use right off the bat with these two knives, CQC7, the ETAK. There's a B version again. They have the clip version. That's I think the A model. I would say first and foremost, as they say on their box, hard use knives. I think a lot of folks that do buy, a lot of dudes that do buy Emerson knives do use them. Now I said I haven't gear checked and found anybody that has brought one out of pocket, and that's true. But that's not saying that there aren't a ton of dudes that don't do it. I know because I met them at the trade shows, and they are raging Emerson fans, and each one of them had like 2 or 3 Emerson knives on their person. And I'll tell you this, and I want to represent their viewpoint too. They don't care that it's a 5 or 6 ounce knife. They do not care. I've hit that point a lot. I've always represented that fairly. That being said, I don't apologize for my own preferences. I don't. I just tell you how it is. But a lot of guys hard use it as an EDC blade and as a tactical blade. They're kind of meant as the latter. Talking about application. It's kind of meant for troops, soldiers, and Ernie, who by the way is a great dude, loved him. Go look at my interview with him, what, 3 or 4 years ago. Quality interview, quality experience. I asked him a lot of interesting questions about his knife preferences, his history, steel preferences, how his product integrates, here we're talking about it now, into the military operation. A lot of military operators have taken his knives into harm's way. They've killed some dudes with them too. I know that for a fact. So they have blood on them, and they are a tactical blade. I think that's what they're, at least a long time ago, what they're meant for. And Ernie was one of the first. Like I said, what I like to see him do is get more competitive with where the market is now. Lighter weight, different materials, different colorations, second cool improvements, and I think you'll see a lot more new Emerson knife fans be born. I'll leave philosophy of use at that. We talked about the weight already on both of those. They're kind of heavy compared to the competition. They feel good in hand. The CQC7 especially I love. It's my favorite one. I just like how it envelops the hand like that. The jimping, you know, it's okay. The flipper, it's okay. I just like it though, the CQC7. These ones, I'll start with ETAK, is good. We'll look at the handle here in a second. I like the CQC7 a little bit better. This one, the CQC7, seems a little bit small for my hand. Maybe it's a better EDC choice, and maybe a lot of guys are running this as EDC choice. In fact, I think I've seen some guys at the trade shows that had this exact one come out, and they raved about it, loved it. So it's substantial in hand. A lot of guys super like that. The steel choices are being upgraded to Emerson. This one, I hope I don't make a mistake on this, is the ETAK B is 154 still. And Ernie in our interview said he, at least back then, he loved that steel. He was being very loyal to his providers, which had stuck by him through the years. And I get all that. However, to be market competitive in the consumer's minds, I think it's time to upgrade the steels. And he did this with the CQC7, which is wearing S30V. I'm sorry, S35. VN is what I was thinking. So that's a move in the right direction. Is there a measurable or demonstrative difference in performance between the 154 and S35? Some guys will rave on and on. I'm sure there's forum threads all over the world about guys just getting pissed at each other about it. Yeah, absolutely. I think most of us wouldn't know the difference. But that being said, you have to establish an identity in the consumer's minds to get their money. And if they feel like they're getting a lot for their money, they're going to spend their money with you. There I am giving you behind the scenes how the sausage is made stuff. Blade shapes. I love this blade shape of the ETAK. It's kind of a hybrid between a clip and a Tanto shape. Very, very cool. See if I can get that to focus for y'all. This one I don't like. This kind of stubby, full-on Tanto version. I just don't. Now, here's another thing I don't like, and I said this to Ernie as well, and I asked him why he did this, and I'll pass on to you what he said here in a second. I don't like the chisel grind. I detest it. I've always said that. I said it right to Ernie in person, like I always say. If you can't say it in person, don't say it at all. Whether it's internet comment, video comment, forum comment, if you're not man enough to say it in person, don't say it at all. I told Ernie, I was like, I don't like chisel grind. I hate it. He's like, yeah, but I do that because it allows the troops, at least his thinking was once upon a time, to sharpen it more readily in the field. Now, I've never known anybody who sharpened their knife on a rock or whatever. And maybe he's just talking sharpening steel. But that's his thinking. I'm just passing it on. This one kind of has a hybrid. It's actually an asymmetric grind. So it's ground on both sides of the blade, as you can see. I'm talking about the ETAK B. And then you can see it's a very short primary here, longer here. Now, don't get me wrong. Both of these edges out of box are honed to wicked sharpness. They're very, very sharp. There's a tip on the ETAK, by the way. The very strong tip on the chisel ground CQC7. It's kind of a plankish steel. So I love the shape on this. If I owned the ETAK, I would never get the CQC7. It just doesn't work for me. This one I would think about. And I would probably just make it a symmetric grind, and it would be very easy enough to do on my Edge Pro Apex. And it's got flats here for sharpening. Piece of cake. Speed deployment. Well, it's the patented Ernie Emerson deployment feature. As he talked about in our interview, it was an accidental discovery that he did, and now it's all over the world. It's patented. I think he probably gets royalties in no small part due to this feature. Just hook it on your pants and out it comes, so to speak. Now, going back to my CQC7, CQC8, you can see that the wave portion of the blade grind is identical, so it has not been changed. Neither has the jimping been. I kind of wished it had, because like I said, the jimping is like, kind of there, not really functional. So speed coming out of the pocket will be good once these are broken in. And this is another kind of minor criticism I have on Emerson knives. That out of pocket, they're stiff. So like this one, hey, just loosen up the pivot point. I hear you, and we'll do that right now. But out of box, the current competition, whether you're talking Spyderco, Kershaw, Benchmade, Microtech, out of box, they're perfect. So we'll go and loosen it up, like you said. And sometimes, though, you can get movement in the pivot. So now it's coming out fast. And actually, I don't see, there's just a very slight movement there. So I could tweak it. I don't want to screw that screw up at all, so to speak. But yeah, once you tune it, sure enough. And this, I had to do it with this one. I mean, my original one. But see, it kind of stuck right there. I got to, kind of do it with purpose. Let me tighten it up just a little bit, see if I can find that sweet spot. My point is that out of box, should a user have to do it for a knife that costs this much? I don't think they should. They shouldn't. There you go. That's good. Let's see this. And this was brand new out of box. That one's better. And these are minor things. You can easily adjust it. It has an easy screw point or slotted screw there for adjustability. And if memory serves, when you do that, you're still going to maintain blade centering. Oh, wait, maybe not. Oh! See how that favored that other side? And that's when I loosened it up. So let's tighten it again, and we'll see if it comes back to center. It does. And this is just kind of what I'm talking about. And I'm being kind of funny how I'm delivering the message. But, I mean, for a knife this level, it should have a more advanced system. It should be smooth and easy out of box, and it shouldn't need tweaking. It shouldn't. If I buy a $20 Chinese knife, maybe it should be tweaked. So speed, I'll give, I don't know, out of box, 3-star. This one's really good. And let's check centering on the CQC7. It's good. I will tell you, it's kind of a pet peeve of mine when, as the user, I have to adjust the pivot and then my centering's screwed up. Do you guys feel the same way? That I was like, why do I have to even do this? And then when I do it, now my centering's all dicked. Yeah, I don't like it. Lockup for these liner locks, captured liner locks, is good. There's your timing on the ETAK. That'll focus. There you go. And let's look inside the handle since we're here. You can see there's no skeletonizing. That's kind of what I was alluding to on the scale. Here's your timing on the CQC7. Handle construction. The G10 that Emerson has used has always been excellent. It's high quality, probably the highest quality G10 you can find. It's not the ultra traction G10 we see on a couple other knives. Phillips head screws to take it apart. Kind of an old school construction method. Pillar constructed, no skeletonizing once again. Rounded on the CQC7. I would say kind of squared shoulders on the ETAK. This actually kind of reminds me of that old, what was it? It was a SIG knife I reviewed. It was under the SIG name. I reviewed it in 2008. This kind of reminds me of that. Albeit that knife had some super aggressive G10 on it. But you can see the same Phillips head screws, pillar constructed, blood, mud flows right through, lanyard attachment coming right here through the slot. There's a handle again. I like this part, but as this sweeps down, I'm not too much of a fan of it on the ergonomics on the ETAK. Clip design. And I'm going to bring my old CQC8 up. Same. No change. Maybe we could update it a little bit. Maybe here's a Microtech. This will be a bracketed review, something like that. These are small details, but to knife guys, they really, really like it when small details are changed up. Look at this clip on the 1870, the Kershaw. That's nice. That's a really nice clip. Can you imagine something like that? Dude, I mean, if you just change that, mount it higher, I think a lot of guys would dig it. I don't know, maybe the Emerson Elite or the Emerson Faithful would not dig it. They're like, hey, don't change anything. I don't know. Durability is good. These are truly hard use knives. Judging from mine, I have cut a lot with it, and it's been great. Value. They're expensive. They're U.S. produced by Emerson, made in the USA, and so you're going to pay for it. I love it when guys complain about the price, and then in the same breath they say they don't like, Chinese produced blades. I'm like, okay, it's U.S. produced. It's $250 or $225 in this case. Ante up. You want to support the U.S. knife industry, you're going to have to pay for it. It costs. I'm not really going to roll any options on there because I want this to be a shorter review. Cool factor, Emerson is just cool by name. So if you carry an Emerson knife, a lot of people, at least the generation that probably served in the military through the 90s, through the early 2000s, know the name. It's well respected in the industry. People love it, and you'll have total cool factor. So second cool, I think Emerson has it going on, even with these two knives. Now, do they look any different from, I don't know, the knives from 15 years ago? Not too much. I've talked about how I think they could upgrade them, make them more special, make them more exciting to their existing customer base and perhaps new customers. They could. The chisel grind though, ooh, dude, I can't, I don't like it. Especially on the CQC7, it cuts asymmetrically. If you cut a tomato with this, food preparation in a realistic cutting task, I don't know, will it do it for you? If it does, I say rock on. My favorite between these two is the ETAK. The B, I would actually prefer this hybrid Tanto version with asymmetric grind over the A model, the clip version. That might surprise you. Love this blade shape. I would just slap it on my grinder, take care of it, and I could live with it. It is kind of a heavier knife though, like I said and showed you. That's a review. See ya.